It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
Jamal! Gonna miss you, bud. Going to miss you.
Fatality.
Switch up, look at things different, see the bigger picture. Those were the days, hard work forever pays. Now I see you in a better place. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I went through, you were standing there by my side, and now you gon' be with me for the last ride.
It's been a long day.
So, that sucks. If you live under a rock, here you go. Spoiler alert, Jamal Charles, injured for the year, ACL. Not sure if it's torn or ripped. Apparently there's a difference, according to Mr. Nathan Marchini. But regardless, he is out for the year. Speaking of Nate, couldn't be here today. He has a pretty bad cold, and gratefully enough elected to not join me so as to not give me the same cold. So thank you for that, Nate. I will try to do as good as we normally do together, which is pretty terrible, so I got a good shot. Speaking of terrible, didn't realize until I started recording myself that I'm wearing a Lions sweater, so what the hell's up with that? Pretty terrible stuff. I guess let's just get into the week that was. Myself against Tyler. Tyler just coming off of a disappointing stat change in which he was given a loss because of how close it was. Not great for him this week. Blake Bortles did me well, 36 compared to Tom Brady's 29. Jamal Charles, again, like I said, injured for the year. At least he got me 7 before that, so that's good. CJ continues to be a bum. I'm going to start him one more week against Cleveland before Denver goes on bye. But if he does not do well then, it's all over, CJ. We're done. I'm breaking up with you, okay? You've had your opportunities. DeAndre Hopkins, currently the third best receiver. That was definitely a pro in that trade that I got from Nate. Didn't expect that. But he's been doing well. 16 points, and then the Steelers D got me 12, and Denver kicker got me 12 as well. I was a little surprised that I won. Eddie Lacy had a really strong outing. Jeremy Hill had a really strong outing. Randall Cobb had a really strong outing. Martellus Bennett had a really strong outing. So pretty shocking there. Sikinga's got an all-star cast, and they just weren't clicking this week. So victory to this guy. Okay, the Chimpy Kenyans against terminal illness. So Nate Turmel against his brother Justin Turmel. Oh boy, Justin, 109 points, even though Matty Ice only got 6. Le'Veon got 18. Devontae got 25. I do think Devontae's numbers will start to decrease a little bit with Tevin coming back. But I think you had last week, and maybe this week is a good, strong week. So after that, I'm not sure. Keenan didn't do well. Willie Snead got you 14. That was a good pickup. And then the Packers' defense killed it with 23, so that was good. For Nate Turmel, not a strong performance, only 84. Not terrible. 13 out of Seahawks D, 15 out of your kicker, that's always nice. 15 out of Carlos Hyde, and 19 out of Drew Brees, not great. But Alfred Morris only 1 point, Calvin only 6, Ruben Randall 4, Ladarius 5, Rashad Jennings 6. Not great. You left Shane Vereen with 16 on the bench, but would not have helped you at all. So, victory to Justin there. The Ball Busters against CC's TDs, and Peyton Manning didn't look great. Only 6 points. Deion Lewis with 14. Larry Fitzgerald with 11 and Gio with 10. Other than that, it was a lot of duds. Antonio Brown with only 4 points. Meanwhile, Cam got 18 from Rogers, 13 from James Jones, 21 from Eifert. Eifert been a really big surprise this year. He has had his up and downs, but Cam seems to always pick the right weeks to play him, so that's good. And then the Eagles defense with 14. Cam only 89 points, not super strong, but enough to get past Jessica, who only had 65. And then big names, no game at Team Paul. Dave got a big outing from Palmer, 24, 16 from Forte, and 18 from Julian Edelman, along with 22 from the Broncos defense, who are hands down the best defense right now in terms of just actual football. I mean, they are stellar. If their offense would actually pick it up, they'd be Super Bowl favorites, but I don't see that happening. From Rick, he got 17 out of Murray, which was nice, and 11 out of Foster. Those two guys have been quiet up until now. 21 out of Antonio Gates, 14 out of the Cardinals, 13 out of Josh Brown. Only 2 points shy, so didn't quite get it, but who knows? After we saw last week, maybe there will be a stat change. Maybe the victory will end up going your way. Until that happens, though, Dave gets 110 points and has the most points of this week, so congratulations, Dave, getting $5. Teenage Mutant Ninja Bortles against Bill Cosby's Sleepers. Kirk, not a great game from Mariota, only 9 points there. You got 19 from Robinson and 14 from the Patriots D, leaving Andy Dalton on the bench. I know they're against Seattle, but man, that was killer. Seattle's got a great defense, but spoiler alert, Buffalo has a great defense too, and Marcus Mariota's rookie, and Andy Dalton is the red pistol. So, I don't know. In that situation, I know the Seattle thing is scary, but I probably would have started Dalton just because Seattle and Buffalo are both great defenses. Got to go with the experienced guy. If you would have done that, would have given you the victory. Not quite, though. Micah, 23 from Tyrod Taylor, who appears to be pretty banged up right now. TJ Yeldon got 12, and Odell 18. Not a ton of points, but 84, 7 points more than what was needed to get the victory from Kirk. And then finally, the matchup of probably all time is what I believe I called it in the last video, but Nathan Marchini, a.k.a. Rookie of the Year, against Chalupa Batman, Tony Rabideau. And it's a little confusing because if you haven't seen it, go check out Tony's, I think they're called a badge on ESPN. Go check out his basically profile picture. It's Nate with the fire coming out of his head from last week, so pretty cool. Stafford with a dud, only 7 points. Amir Abdullah with -1. Texans defense with -1. I don't know why Tony still has the Texans defense. They are ranked 32 out of 32 in terms of fantasy defenses. So they have put up a total of, 6, 12, 10, 9 points in 5 weeks. So Tony might want to look at, although you got Jacksonville this week, so maybe you do keep him. Nate got 15 from Alex Smith, 22 from Justin Forsett, and 11 out of Emmanuel Sanders. The dud, though, for Nate, Doug Martin, 33 points. Nate only scored 63 points. Tony only scored 73, but Tony got the win because of Doug Martin. Had Nate played Flacco instead of Smith, Nate would have come away with the victory. So, you win some, you lose some. So let's see how that affects the standings. All right, as I mentioned, Dave gets the $5, so congratulations, Dave. Now in the Honolulu Blue Division, Justin is at the top at 4-1. Jessica is second at 3-2. I am third at 3-2, and Rick is fourth at 1-4. In the Silver Division, Cam and Micah both 4-1, although Cam has the tiebreaker because he has more points scored. Dave is at 3-2, and Tony with the first win of the season at 1-4. And then finally, the Black Division, Kirk is 3-2, Nate Marchini 2-3, Tyler 1-4, and Nate Termel 1-4. So if we look at how the divisions are doing as a whole, the Honolulu Blue Division, they have 11 total wins, so that's pretty good. The Silver Division has 12 total wins, a little bit better. Black Division, you are looking at 7 total wins. So I'm not going to go through it all right now, but I would imagine that that's a lot of losses coming from non-conference, because everybody has the same number from conference and non-conference, divisional games, because 2 people win and 2 people lose automatically. So that kind of evens out. But Black Division, as I had predicted in the draft, the day of the draft, Black Division right now, the weakest division. But regardless, Kirk at the top there. So how does that change the playoff standings. If the playoffs were to start today, Justin moves up to the number 1 spot. Actually, I think he may have had that last week. Nope, Jessica still had it last week. Justin moves up to the 1 spot. Nate Marchini would be playing him at the 8, so congratulations, Nate, back in the mix. Micah at the 4 spot would be playing Jessica at the 5. Jessica goes from 1 to 5. It moves like that, people. Cam would be the 2 seed playing myself. I like that matchup. Cam hasn't been scoring a lot of points lately. Bring it, Cam. Although I'm without Jamal Charles now, so I should probably shut up. And then Kirk at the 3 seed against Dave at the 6 seed. Now, one thing that I forgot to go over prior to the matchups were trades. We went over the Julio Jones trade, and I believe we went over... Then Tony flipped that Travis Benjamin in an 8th round to Kirk for Anquan in a 4th round, which was owned by myself. Then, as we kind of hinted towards on the video, Nate was interested in Boobie Dixon, so he traded me Thomas Rawls in a 10th round for Boobie Dixon. And how did that play out? I don't have it up anymore, but I'm guessing not well. I thought he was going to do well. I sat Thomas Rawls like a dumbass, and Thomas Rawls went off for 22 points. So that was great. I think I would have come away with the $5 on that one, so a little bummed. But regardless, there's a trade. And then I did forget the Rick and Micah trade. Rick traded away A.J. Green and Melvin Gordon to Micah for Arian Foster, Sammy Watkins in an 8th round. I think Sammy Watkins is absolute garbage. I think Melvin Gordon has some value because he's a rookie. They want to get him reps. I think A.J. Green, I don't know, usually receivers are easier to come by. I feel like this year running backs are a little bit easier. So it's overall pretty even. I don't know, I would have traded away A.J. Green if I was Rick, because Rick was very excited to get A.J. Green, so I'm a little confused by that, especially with the injury history of Arian Foster, but overall not too bad. And then Justin and Jessica traded. Justin traded away Mark Ingram, Larry Fitzgerald in his 7th round next year for Devontae Freeman and Jarvis Landry. Jarvis Landry has been not great. He's averaging about 10 points per week, but hasn't been up to expectations. Devontae Freeman has far and exceeded expectations. In fact, he may very well be the MVP to this point of the season. Jessica, I think, sold high, which is good. I think Devontae Freeman, obviously we saw he got 25 this week, so that is obviously is another huge game. I don't think he'll have the same production. I think he might have one more big week, but then I think it'll drop off. Not terribly, but I don't think he'll be scoring 30-some points every week. So I like the trade for both people. I think Justin wanted a couple of wins right now. For Jessica, I think she was looking long-term. I think she realized that that was probably the best value she was going to get once Devontae starts struggling. If he does, which I project he will, then you're obviously not going to get the same value, so you kind of got to pull the trigger while you can. So both sides assume a little bit of risk. And then finally, Cam traded Justin Forsett and Kendall Wright to Nate Marchini for Carlos Williams in an 8th round. Justin Forsett, I thought last week was going to have his best week at 15 points. This current week he got 22, so he did outdo my expectations. But they've been given a lot of reps to Lorenzo Taliaferro. I know he was injured, so once he comes back, I think that may hurt him. Carlos Williams, LaShawn is out for at least till November, so I thought Carlos Williams holds a lot of value. He gets almost guaranteed 10 points, even when LaShawn was in there. So I liked it a little bit more for Cam, but not bad either way. And then there was a trade that happened today. On the aftermath of the Jamal Charles news, I traded away Jamal Charles to Tony for a 3rd round pick. I understand that may seem a little low for a keeper, but you got to remember, I don't know that I want to hold on to someone for, what would it be now, 12 more weeks? That's a long time to not have a roster spot. You also have to remember, I've been holding on to Alshon Jeffrey, LaShawn McCoy, and Des Bryant, none of whom are playing. If I were to hold on to Jamal, that would take up 4 of my bench spots. It would only give me 2 in terms of flexibility. So not a lot of wiggle room there. Tony and I made a deal. If I were able to get the Kansas City backups, then it would be a 3rd round. If I wasn't able to, then I'd get a 2nd round. And I was able to secure that. Picked him up free agency this morning. So Tony gave me a 3rd round for it. Maybe a little low, but to carry it on your bench for 12 weeks, that's a long time. And I don't know that I even want Jamal as my keeper next year. So, especially, you also have to remember we only have to keep one person. So that helps too. Moving on to next week. Tony Rabideau against myself. I am... Well, let's see what Micah picks as well. Okay, so... Oh, also, congratulations to Micah. Last week got 5 out of 6 picks correct. Only got the Jessica Cam pick wrong. So congrats. I only got 3 right. You got 5. That was awesome. And Cam curb stomped me in our head-to-head. I didn't even have a full team. I had to play Eddie Royal, who got 0 because he was injured. Steve Smith got 0 because he was injured. And then on my bench, I had 0 flexibility. Ryan Tannehill was on a bye. Greg Olsen was on a bye. Des Bryant is out. Adrian Peterson was on a bye. Lamar was on a bye. And Jarvis Landry was on a bye. So I had 0 flexibility. Cam curb stomped me by about 50 points. But let's go back to the pick'em. So, Tony against myself. Micah says that I have more weapons than Tony, and Gurley is on a bye. Gurley has been a stud so far. Been a very big surprise. So Micah is going with myself. I will agree. I will also go with myself. I'm actually going to mark that now. Okay, Justin against Micah. Micah says that one of these weeks his team will score over 100 points. Micah, you better hope you're right, because Justin rarely doesn't have one of the higher scores. It is currently projecting Justin to win. Matt Ryan against New Orleans, Keenan Allen against Green Bay. I think Justin makes a trade before then, so I think this may change, but as of right now, I am going to agree. I think that Micah gets the win, and technically right now it is an upset pick. Jessica against Nate Termel. Wow. So Jessica is currently projected to win by 16 points. They're expecting Peyton to just go off against Cleveland. Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm going to go with Jessica. Let's put it on the board here. And Mike is also going with Jessica. All right, Dave against Kirk. Sorry about that. Dave against Kirk. I am going with Dave. He is projected to win. I think he might make a couple of lineup changes before then. Kirk finally starting Andy Dalton against Buffalo. And I wonder who you think Micah is picking. So I am going with Dave. Micah's obviously going with Dave because, well, let's see what he said about Frank Gore this week. He said Frank Gore sucks. Kept it short, sweet, to the point. Nate Marchini against Cam. Nate, you're going to have to prove to me that you can win again. Cam hasn't been scoring a ton of points, but you just lost to the only guy that hadn't won a game, so I'm going with Cam. Micah agrees. He's going with Cam as well. And Tyler against Rick. We were both agreeing on this one, too. It's a close game. It's only projected to be 2-point difference. But we both kind of agreed that Tyler has a great-looking team on paper, and we think that he finally gets a win. So that's kind of what we have going on this week. There have been some trade posts in the Facebook message group thing. Keep it going. I love it. I'm not at a super big position to trade right now. Just a lot of guys in my team are injured, so I wouldn't get the value back that I think is necessary. But keep the trades going. Don't be offended if we do have to review a trade. It's just kind of part of the shit. So, and I think that is, look at that for Halloween. I think that's all I have for this week. It's going to be a lot shorter. Good luck to everybody except for Tony. And we'll see you next week.